Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me well? Can few of you just quickly confirm?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, sure, perfect. Quickly, Ayush, so how many people are from your institution?
Sir, we are expecting around 25
But
to 30 from our college because some of the I just dropped a message in the group. They will be joining
okay,
in 2
because
and
our session itself is for 40 minutes, and I don't want to make people who have joined on time to wait. So
yeah,
let's,
you can start, sir. You can start.
we'll get it started, and I will try to admit whoever is coming in. Anyone else apart from your college is here? Hello, guys. Anyone representing any other educational institution? You can just share which is your college name.
Hi, sir. This is Purvank.
Okay.
I'm not representing any college as such. I mean, I don't have a team or a group of people who are joining from my side, but I'm alone. I'm from IIT Bombay,
Okay.
and I am very much inclined towards supply chain management. So
Perfect.
just thought I'll join in and have
Sure.
a little exposure.
Not a problem, Purvank. Glad to have you here. Good. So let's get it started. Let me quickly give a preview. As you all know, at 30 minutes, a video has been shared with all of you. I'm sure you have gone through that. This session is specifically planned to address if you have any follow-up questions. Before I open up for questions, the crux of that 30 minutes meeting is very simple. I would start with a small quote I have given. Analytics has a great future, but just analytics doesn't have a great future. So the meaning is, with analytics, you should definitely have that problem-solving ability plus team management. These two things are much needed for you to spearhead in your career. So this is the key takeaway. Just 1 second. Yeah, this is one. Second thing, I very clearly insisted on the different roles you have, and you should use the SCAM model and Gartner model to see whether you're actually progressing well on your career. You should not just get stuck on the starting point, which is the descriptive analytics. You should spearhead towards the prescriptive analytics or the predictive and prescriptive analytics. Okay. So with that, let me now leave it to you guys. Please ask any questions. There, no question is bad. If anything is little out of a topic for this, then we can have a separate session for it. So no worries. So no question is bad. We have just exactly 30 minutes. So shoot your questions fast, and I'll try to answer it as quick as possible. Yeah, over to you guys. You can just unmute, introduce yourself. It would be great actually if you switch on your video as well. I'll be able to see you. It's better to interact as well. So go ahead, shoot your questions. Yes, Ayush. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, Ayush. Please tell me.
Sir, one of the questions that I got from my batchmate is that in the FMCG sector, there has been a lot of disruptions because of the COVID. And the companies that are using the analytics will be the game changer in the future. So just wanted to know that how FMCG sector will be using this analytics and how it can be a type of like suppose two companies are there. So how the company which have invested a lot in these kind of frameworks
Analytics can have a
will
competitive
have
edge.
the
Okay, perfect. Okay, this is a big topic. Okay, I need to start from FMCG, and we don't have 30 minutes for this single question. So let me put it in very nutshell. One of the biggest problem of FMCG company is in terms of knowing the customers. I'll put it in a very different way. In FMCG channel, to reach billion plus people, there are multiple channels of distribution which happens, multiple levels of distributors. Then there could be wholesalers, retailers, rural retailers. So the number of channels are really very, very high. What happens is, most of the cases, the FMCG is more kind of a push. You make everything, push to your first CFA, and they take care of the distribution. Okay, those names even won't even surface anywhere. But what happens is, after multiple levels of handshakes, when it reaches the customer, the FMCG struggles to have a good set of data on their customers. That is where the biggest problem is. This is number one. Second thing is in terms of logistics. In the biggest concern in FMCG in terms of reach, okay, the one thing which is a bottleneck is logistics in India. As you know, the logistics is not very organized. This is the same case with most of the other countries as well. So what happens is analytics is going to help on these two areas. One, in terms of your distribution strategy. Now analytics cannot be taken away. That is going to be one of the key factor which is going to be a competitive edge. The second thing, data is the new gold mine. I have just put that as a heading. FMCG, now more and more people are trying to understand their customers, and that's the reason they are going to use analytics to understand customer behavior. These are the two key areas. Obviously, there are a lot of other things other, but for FMCG, these are the two things which are going to give that competitive edge. I hope that answers that question, Ayush.
So, matlab, sir, what just I wanted to know that if we wanted to have a outlook, suppose we don't have much data to work on. In finance, we get the data from balance sheet. But the thing is that if we want to have an outlook, suppose I want to know about how TQM can impact the labor cost and material cost. And in India, we get the data to work on. So, sir, what can be the thing if we want to work on these kind of setups?
I'll tell you one thing. I have completed hundreds of projects. Till date, I never faced a project where the data is 100%. So you can definitely take any point of time. There is going to be a degree of uncertainty. That is where extrapolation, people tell there are two ways of extrapolation. One, just blindly doing it. Second one, using an analytical approach and then extrapolating. That is indirectly called the predictive analytics. What is going to happen? Partially, it is done on the descriptive and diagnostic analytics as well. Please go through the SCAM model again. So that is where you are using analytics. To be very precise, how you use analytics is using the data you have, using the correlations you have, you build a model. Okay, when you heard about forecasting model, what forecasting model does? It is not going to just like that predict something. Either you do a past data or you use a similar data set from the same sector you are using, or you go back to the market and collect data. These are the three ways available. So using that, using your core skill in terms of the analytics, you build a model, put in those scenarios. That is what a scenario manager does. Use those data and then try to predict it for the future. And this is where statistics also play a role in terms of, okay, you can't measure the entire population. You just have a sample. Now, how to make this sample a representative of the entire population? This is where statistics plays a huge role as well. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Please go ahead. You can keep asking your questions.
Hi, sir.
Hello, sir.
Purvank again.
Hi, Purvank. Please tell me.
Sir, I just wanted to know.
One second.
If you can suggest...
Pranshu, you can just shoot your question after Purvank. Okay, go ahead, Purvank.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. So, sir, I just wanted if you can suggest some resources to work on the problem-solving skills you mentioned in your videos earlier.
Okay. See, problem solving, again, that's a huge topic. I'm going to give you a gist of it. Whoever further have any questions, you can reach me on my LinkedIn or in Supply Chain Forum. There are multiple forums you can reach me. But crux of all the problem solving comes in PDCA. Plan, do, check, act. Okay. This is the secret recipe behind all the other tools. Even you take Lean, which is into elimination of waste. Take Six Sigma. Take theory of constraints. Every different tool in different flavors. I can name another 5 different techniques. Everything roots from the PDCA. So what you need to start from is understand PDCA, which is nothing, which starts from planning. Plan, do, check, act. Go through in detail on how to do it. I think that is the starting point for you. And once you understand this, depending on the sector you are in, that's what I'm again telling. You can then learn Lean or Six Sigma, theory of constraints. These are all fantastic problem solving tools, which will help you with hundreds of tools within them. Like Six Sigma has around close to 50-60 tools, right? Why I am telling depending on the sector. For example, if you're an automotive sector, I can just close my eyes and then tell you go and learn Lean Six Sigma. Not every sector has the ability to give you that experience to use those tools. So either depending on your sector, or if you are working as a consultant, for example, or a process excellence person in an organization, definitely you can use this tool, because end of the day results are important. No one is even worried what tools you're using, but these tools actually gives you the edge in problem solving. Hope that answers your questions, Purvan.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yes, Pranshu, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is, like, these days the demand of electronics items like refrigerator, TV are very low. So many of the big showrooms are getting closed because of this, because they are not able to pay the rentals in the rentals of the shop. And likewise, those who are open, they don't have much of stock left in their shops.
Correct.
So how does a supply chain manager, logistic manager plan? Like, how should they plan to their factories? Like, how much should they produce? How much should they supply? And keeping the COVID case, like today, demand is less. Say after 1 month, if the vaccine comes, the demand will dramatically shoot up.
Correct.
So how should we manage for that, and how should we plan?
Okay. So let me put this in two ways. One, what you said is how much to produce. Moment you use that word, you are talking about a manufacturer. Okay. A manufacturer had, for example, take a brand like Whirlpool, for example. Whirlpool have multiple channels by which they distribute their products. So from their standpoint, there will be a hit in terms of channel. For example, offline channel is currently hit, but their online channel is picking up, but not for all products. There are some new products which have picked up really well. For example, take about dishwashers. Suddenly you see in COVID, because typically in tier 1, tier 2 cities, you are not able to take any help in your this thing. Maids are not allowed into the community. So what that happens now, more products related to that are booming. So I don't want to get more into this, because we have just completed a secondary research on this specific thing. Absolutely, there are few appliances are shooting up like 2x and 3x. Okay. So what a manufacturing organization do is, which are the so your capacity is the same. You can't increase your capacity immediately. Now you need to see which of my portfolio is picking really good. Put your resources on that and then pump it.
Okay.
Because if you lose this, you are gone. You are not going to get back, because this is the time. It's like summer, AC sale will be higher. If you're not investing capacity on that and putting it in something else, you are losing an opportunity. Same way, they need to do their distribution planning. This is number one. The second question you talked about is kind of individual distributors. If they need to plan what stock, like multi-brand distributors, they need to again do a survey in terms of which are the portfolios picking up, and now they need to get into an omni-channel. They need to get into omni-channel. If you see, already jewelries are getting into omni-channel. Can you believe it? One of the expensive product, they are coming up with all the top names. Now they are coming, okay, you can see it online. We will deliver it to home. You can place order to this. Already you are seeing there is a heavy online push. And it is very much aligned with the global scenario of your online, which is estimated to see around 6 trillion by 2024, out of which 1.5 trillion is going to be cross-border sales. So it is going to happen between countries as well. So what the offline markets, what they are losing is the gain of online market, and there are specific products which are getting a lot of traction. You need to invest your resources on that. I trust that answers your question.
Yes. Okay, sir.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Anyone else, please go ahead. Any other questions, please? No question is a bad question.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Good
please
evening.
go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Good evening. This is Aviral Singh.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
sir, my question is that we have seen that the trends in supply chain analytics have always been initiated by foreign giants, like the companies which spend much in United States and Europe. But these things takes and India is always a follower in this particular domain. So, sir, going ahead, what do you think could be the way that Indian companies can spend more in developing their supply chain analytics part as a resource? Because currently it seems that it may not be the priority of many Indian companies. So, sir, how can this thing be worked out in India? And what and one more question on it is how can the means the costing of it can be justified with what one can achieve in MSME sectors, because most of the industries in India are in MSME state. So
Right.
relating to that, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Nice question. So first of all, I think your point in terms of that overseas there is a lot of traction versus here, that is not completely right. You need to go back and see. What you would probably see is more of the analytical tools and everything as a service is moving outside the country. Okay, this also in a very surface level. And the reason is you already told, because of more and more MSMEs are here, they can't afford to have a full-fledged team. Most of them run without an human resources or a finance team. They outsource completely. You can't expect them to have a full-fledged analytics team. But does that mean they are not doing any analytics? Trust me, when we try to solve some projects, the real challenge, our skills will be tested on with the small and medium enterprises. The reason being, these people know their numbers really well. Second, they work on floor. So these are some of the things. But as you rightly said, definitely they can't afford to have a separate vertical. So from a career standpoint, okay, it is always better to go to an organization which is having analytics as a vertical or an ops plus analytical role in startups or even SMEs or a bigger companies. That is fine. The reason why, so now we are telling that SMEs cannot afford this. So what other option we have? So that is where more and more analytics as a service is picking up. If you see, just this year alone, the number of analytics-based companies, that means it could be service in the form of a product, or it could be in the form of go as a problem solve and then get some tools installed. This is picking up. That is a direct relationship with more and more startups and SMEs want data, because they also understand without data, you can't take a clear decision, or they would have already burnt their fingers once without taking decisions without data. So that area is as well picking up well. Does that answers that your question, or you have any follow-up question on that?
Yes, sir. It completely answers, sir.
Okay.
I got. Right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions?
Hello, sir. Should we decide?
Hello, Shubhi. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
So my question is like, what different tools and analytics mindset we should use to have a career in analytics?
Okay, what kind of tools? Okay, so my recommendation again, please watch that video again. I'm going to restate some of the key points alone. I may not be able to explain everything. One of the key things I've talked about in the video is in terms of software versus methodology. So first and foremost thing, even experienced people, when you give them a business problem and try to solve, they have a good number of analytics tools. For example, they struggle to do. So what is the problem is in terms of approach. That is what we call it as the methodology. So your prime focus should be on the problem solving ability and the method in which you are going to solve the problem. For this, you need a lot of functional knowledge. This is step one. To answer your question in terms of what kind of tools will help me, okay? So once you have this thing ready, okay, you should start using some of the tools which are, for example, I don't want to name any tools, absolutely, because the tools which are currently active may not be active 10 years before. And 10 years from now, there could be another tool. So what my suggestion is, if you want to completely do analytics as a core skill and then you want to go ahead, you should learn one of a programming language related to analytics. This is very, very important. The reason I'm telling is, if you don't know programming language, what you're doing is, you are going to use already built models. Think, very example, forecasting. Building a forecasting model is completely different from using a forecasting model. This is the difference I am talking about. First, you can go use an analytics tool which is into forecasting. You can start using it and learning it, but you should graduate to the next level by using or learning a programming language such that you will be able to build a tool yourself by also leveraging your functional knowledge. This is actually the growth in analytics. So this route you can take if you want to take analytics as a career, as a data scientist, you want to go in this line. If you want to go into a good mixture, for example, operations plus analytics or into process excellence roles, you no need to invest that much of time on learning some programming language. Rather, you can put that effort into learning more and more on functional knowledge side of it. This is the crux of how you can take things forward. Does that answers your question, Shubhi?
Yes, sir.
I think, Shubhi, have you heard my answer? I got dropped off. Whatever I said, have you heard it or you want me to repeat it?
Sir, I heard till you were telling us about we should go ahead with the programming language to build a tool by ourselves.
Correct.
We should not be dependent on someone else's
Right.
model.
Right.
Till
Oh,
that
perfect.
we have heard.
Sure. So that route you need to take if you want to get into a very stronger role in analytics, like a data scientist or much more than that. You can get into research that way. But how I ended is, but if you want to get into any role, like a mix of operations and analytics, you don't invest that much of time on the programming language. Rather, you can put that bandwidth into learning more and more on the functional knowledge side of it. Okay. So this is how it is. So does that answer your question, or do you have any follow-up question on that?
So thank
Okay.
you so
Perfect.
much.
Perfect. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
So there's one question from Jason. His audio is not working, so he wanted
please.
to ask that.
Sure.
So which are the tools that are being currently used in forecasting, and how the supply chain network points can identify the particular tools that can be beneficial? Suppose if you're using for time series or something like that, so which tools can be the best for a particular segment, and what they should follow for forecasting actually?
Okay. See.
That is the
Okay. Let me put this way. Again, definitely, I'm not going to name a software or a tool. The reason being, none of the tools are perfect. Like we can't tell, hey, this is the perfect tool. If that is the perfect tool, then everyone will be using it. Same is the case with any tool, even you take as an ERP. So my suggestion, how you can do, take this example of forecasting itself. Step one, have you understood completely about how a forecasting happens in the sector you're talking about? Because the forecasting, or let's take a very larger picture of S&OP, sales and operations planning, how it happens in FMCG, how it happens in automotive. This is the crux of what you need to learn. Once you learn, now you understand, okay, what are all the gaps there? Now I need to fix it using a tool. Now that tool, you can either go to the market, find out all the forecasting tools and find out whether which one will fill your gap, directly use that. You can do that, number one. Or if you are an analytician, you want to build your own model, you can do that. In that, you need to have a programming language. So the crux of what I'm telling is, none of the softwares is going to be like a perfect fit. No, lots and lots of customizations has to be done. How you will be able to do the customizations, how you will be able to do the logic changes, only when you know in and out of the subject what you're talking about. So my recommendation is to start learning that. Still, if you have any softwares in mind, you want my feedback, I think you can connect with me one-on-one. In that way, I would probably have a little bit elaborate understanding of what you talk about, which sector, and then basis that we'll be able to take things forward. Okay?
Sir, hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, Arun Prasad here. Sir,
Yeah.
my question is, in many organizations where they use this legacy MIS
Correct. Correct.
for reporting purposes.
Correct.
And now we have like cutting edge forecasting software which is adopted by many of the companies to
Right.
have a competitive advantage. How do we achieve this harmonization, sir? Like, how do you you get the best of both worlds, like to link your legacy MIS system with your state-of-the-art forecasting tool
Okay, so see, these two
to
are
get the maximum
completely
out of it.
okay, I understood, Arun. So these two are completely different, Arun. For example, the one you talked about, management information system, unfortunately, most of our MAS evaluates or measures what has already happened. Assume you're taking transportation, on-time delivery, 80%. That means you're telling 80% of shipments reached on time, 20%. So basically you're telling how good I am or how bad I am. Damages, we are operating at 4% damages. What that means? It's already happened. That is a problem with the MAS. And you know, the organizations which is pumping in money to make the same MAS more beautiful, more colorful. So that is the problem. You invest a lot of money doing the beautification of the same reports in lagging. What has already happened doesn't yield any value prop. You need to migrate from, no matter whether you're using a legacy system or even you are using a kind of a voice enabled management reporting systems are there. You just speak, it will give you the numbers. But what is important, you should move away from lagging indicators to leading indicators. That means which can tell what is going to wrong and predict upfront, and you work on those root cause before the issue itself happen. I think we should try and move more and more towards that. This is one side of it, reporting. So this reporting will come in descriptive and diagnostic analytics. The second one, what you talked about, is in terms of predicting. That set of tools are completely different. What that means is that is going to use the data and tell, hey, your forecast is going to be like this. Because of your absenteeism, this is what is going to happen. All they talk about is a prediction, what is going to happen, and then final level is prescription, telling what you should do to avoid. Okay, so these two are completely different. There are few tools in the market which is capable of doing both. It will also do this, but also give you the reports, right? But there are few tools completely focused on a scenario, like forecasting. You have a lot of tools. Warehouse optimization, you have a lot of tools. Logistics related, we have a lot of tools. Like that, there are very specific exclusive tools as well. Make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was about to lead to that point only. Like not only sticking to forecasting, but to have a holistic and ecosystem of all the tools. And the main idea of my question was to achieve that integration of legacy with the current advancements.
So let me put this way: the proven model currently is have an enterprise resource planning tool, which is kind of connects everything. Now then fit in your analytics. Now most of the analytics have seamlessly integrated. That is because that is the way they can run it. So with all the leading ERPs, they are already integrated. You need to pick those tools. Like for example, you have a ERP. The ERP will have a min-max. Now you can then have a replenishment planning tool separately, because most of the ERPs doesn't have a good capability to arrive at the min-max. Okay, they have a bucket to update min-max. So you can have an external tool, integrates it, picks that, and then puts it into the ERP. This is an opportunity, or more and more even ERP players are coming up with this kind of analytic tools as well. So the working model is going to be definitely one ERP is needed, and then you can have those plugins or additional tools which can integrate with your ERP. This is what my recommendation would be.
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So one last question. We have just 5 minutes. Please go ahead and ask your question. If anyone had a question and you couldn't ask it today, you can basically send that as an email to me, or you can use the Supply Chain Way forum as well, www.supplychainway.com/forum, or you can directly reach me in LinkedIn. Yeah, last question. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I'm Krishnan.
Hello, Krishnan.
Yeah, my question is that in a country like India, if you're coming up with a new business model, innovative business model, then how much I should spend on this supply chain analytics? And while growing, like in 3 years and in the next 5 years, how should I forecast my spending on supply chain analytics, and how that will add value to my business? If I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. So see, you no need to make it as initially when you start. For example, let me take an example of when we started. When he's all started as a management consulting firm specializing in supply chain, we don't have an analytics software. Even we solve a lot of issues related to supply chain. We don't have a custom-made analytics software itself. So what I would suggest for that startup is chart down all your problems. whatever issues you have, whatever you are currently doing, because that is the starting point. What are the issues or what are the bottlenecks you have? You need to identify that. To fix it, can you fix it with the resources what you have? Yes or no? If no, you go out to the market and find out what tool can fix that problem. It could be an analytical tool, or it could be a planning tool, or it could be a people related issue. We don't know. So start with your problem, go and find a solution. And when you grow bigger, there will be a time you can then start taking some of the outsourced services back to your parent organization if that is going to provide you a competitive edge. I think this is the way you need to run your organization, taking timely decisions using what I've just said to you now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. We have just 3 minutes. Anyone have a short question? We can accommodate one more question here. Okay, fine. I think we'll good then. If anyone, no one has any question, thank you so much for joining the session. I'm sure you got some value out of this. If you have any follow-up questions, or if you have any questions on analytics or anything apart from that in supply chain or any general topics as well, feel free to reach back to me. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thanks a lot, sir, for my FMR, and it was great talking to you. And I hope that we will share the recordings with the participants, because some of them were having classes. Just message me.
Sure.
So they just asked for the recording. So I hope they will get some follow-up questions and they will contact you, or I will contact you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, Ayush. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir.